Brought to you by stationhousecoffee.com and inspireddisorder.com/prime.
What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.
Flophouse, a Viceland documentary series that was on Hulu. I believe it left Hulu this past Friday, I guess a week from today as this episode comes out. So I don't know where you can watch it. But it was a Vice series which I enjoy. Abandon was a great documentary series from Vice. And Flophouse is similar in many ways. This chronicles these different comedian flophouses, kind of artist collectives that live in these rundown houses in different cities across the country. So in each episode, it seems like they feature a different house and the people living in it, which I love it. I'm a fan of comedy, so seeing all of these, a lot of comedians that I've recognized from podcasts that I listen to and stand up. I don't know if I've seen any of them actually do stand up in real life. Maybe a couple, maybe a few, but I enjoy it. So if you're into comedy, this is a fun show to kind of show where, a lot of comedians come from. I mean, especially in a lot of big cities, a lot of the cities. So there's an LA house, there's one up in San Francisco, I think one in Portland, one in Denver, one in I think Atlanta, one in New Orleans. So there's these different flop houses in different parts of the country. And just you get to see, a lot of comedians when they start out, it's you got to live poor. You got to live poor. I mean, most artists in general, it's you're not making a lot of money. You may have a part-time job here or there to kind of at least buy food and pay rent. So getting together with a bunch of people in a house to pay rent makes it a lot cheaper. And it's also just an atmosphere of being around a lot of creative people, which I enjoyed, watching this, even though I'm not a comic, but it's an art form that I appreciate, and it's an art form that I love. So, and it's similar. All art is very similar. A lot of artists have a lot of similar mentalities. Maybe not all artists are performers, but they all have very similar kind of being shy and extroverted or introverted, I should say. Some extroverted. I mean, you give alcohol to an introvert, sometimes they turn into an extrovert. Like myself, tend to be a very quiet person around people. I do like to listen to people and observe people. I don't trust people, so it takes me a while to open up. But in my 20s, I would have loved to live in a situation like this. The closest I had was, there was a moment in San Diego. I moved to Hillcrest and into this, it was a house that had been converted into a bunch of apartments. So I knew a lot of my neighbors who were in the art community. So it was a fun kind of, I mean, it's an easy way to network without networking. I mean, it's also, you're having a lot of parties, getting wasted, doing drugs, all that kind of stuff. But it was just amazing. But some of the comics that I saw on there, I was not necessarily expecting to see people that I recognize. But David Bory is on there from the great and powerful podcast known as All Fantasy Everything. Amy Miller, a comedian that is a guest on All Fantasy Everything pretty regularly, as well as Doug Loves Movies. Both David Bory and Amy Miller are frequent guests on that show. And then Amy Miller has her own podcast, Who's Your God? I think it's a religious kind of themed podcast. Brandon Wardell, who I've seen on a lot of Doug Loves Movies and Getting Doug with High. Little Esther, who I think I've seen actually perform live, kind of in the Death Squad comedian group. She just put out her first special. I think it's her first special on Comedy Central, produced by Adam Sandler. So looking forward to that one. Bobcat Goldthwait does a performance. Moshe Kasher. But the show it's kind of like a documentary where you get to see these different houses just how trashy they are. Kind of, you get to see the vibe of the people that live there. You get to see just how kind of trashed it is and how they've kind of just I mean, there's so many people. There's one house where a dude paints portraits of his roommates and charges them, like $60 or whatever, and that's how he pays his rent, which is $200 a month, which is like a little closet, like literally a little closet that he has a little twin bed in. But yeah, totally like part of it is like a documentary on these flop houses. And then the other part, you get to see these short stand-up sets. I don't know how long they, probably like 3-5 minute sets, where they do these comedy shows, which I don't know if these flop houses actually run shows also. Like, I know some of them do. There was one, the LA one with the garage. I think I've seen other comedians post videos and stuff from performing in that garage. So maybe some of them do also have run like an open mic regularly, which I know it's pretty common in LA for comedians to do like these backyard open mic shows. So I could see some of these flop houses also doing that, which is something that I like. There was one place, I want to say it was in like Atlanta or something like that, where they had this warehouse, and inside the warehouse was these creative spaces. It's basically the dream I have had for decades now, where I want to get a warehouse, and it's going to be a space for people to create podcasts, create art, have a stage area for people to perform, whether it's music or comedy, have a gallery so people who make art there can sell their art through the gallery, like just a self-contained kind of factory of creating art and podcasts and film and just anything that you can do. And so it definitely, for me, connected me to those dreams and goals that I have for myself. And it was just, I really enjoyed it. And it's funny comedy also. But yeah, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. Definitely made me wish I had in my 20s, instead of just partying, because in my 20s I really didn't make much art. I was pretty much just having fun for like the first time in my life, having fun like partying with a group of people, and had a big friend group, and just kind of got wasted and hung out with people and had fun, versus like towards my 30s I started doing a lot more creatively so like which I think if I had found a flop house in my 20s, that would have given me the kind of the party aspect that I was wanting in my 20s, and kind of communal aspect of having a friend group. But then it would have also given me that creative push, because when you're around a lot of creative people, it's almost like competition. It fuels you because you see what people are doing. You're like, I need to be like, just seeing people working hard around you on their craft for me, it motivates me to do the same thing. So I don't know. I really love the show. I don't know if it's where you'd be able to find this show, Flophouse, but if you do stumble across it, which it was on Hulu, I don't think it's there anymore. Maybe, I don't think they ever put stuff on. I don't know where you'll find it, but if you do, it's worth a watch. Flophouse, kind of fun, kind of interesting look at what a lot of comedians go through early on in their careers when they're first starting out. Seeing how they live and what they live, and kind of what situations they deal with, which I'm sure living in a house like that is just gives tons of opportunity for material to kind of just mine from that kind of living experience. But yeah, check out Flophouse if you get a chance. It's a Vice production, fun documentary / comedy showcase. Make sure you go support our sponsor, StationHouseCoffee.com, and follow Station House Coffee on Instagram for small batch, single origin, premium coffee, brewed in Vermont, shipped directly to you. Go to StationHouseCoffee.com and order your coffee today. Also, Get Amazon Prime for 30 days absolutely free when you go through my link, inspireddisorder.com/prime. You can stream all of the Amazon Prime movies and TV shows. You can borrow Kindle books, and you get unlimited free 2-day shipping on all of your orders through Amazon. When you sign up for your free 30-day trial of Amazon Prime with my link, inspireddisorder.com/prime. New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on IGTV, YouTube, and everywhere else podcasts are found. Binge the full week ad-free over at patreon.com/inspireddisorder. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com. And follow the show on Instagram at Ray Taylor Show. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!